Well, I think it's fair to say that the winter transfer window is well underway. There are so many rumours, and we're looking into summer already. So many clubs finding themselves in bad situations. They need reinforcements. Who are they going to sign? Well, today we're going to be covering Premier League transfer rumours. Nothing confirmed. No confirmed deals here. It's just rumours. And we've got some absolutely massive ones. Now, we're going to start off with not the biggest one, but I thought this one was fascinating. Apparently, McTominay could be on his way to Leeds. Now, I believe it would be a loan deal with potentially an option to buy, but I don't know if I believe that. Would Manchester United let one of their young academy... Is he an academy player? I think he might be. There's no doubt that McTominay has found it difficult to get into the team, especially since Casemiro has joined, and Casemiro might go down as one of the best signings of the summer. I think if Casemiro was maybe 10 or 20 million cheaper, he would be the bargain, the best transfer of the window, because they did pay a lot of money for an older player. But he's come in and he has displaced a player like McTominay, who isn't as experienced, who wasn't as consistent, and you can see why they've done it. But McTominay, I think there is still something there with him. He's a good player. He's very physical. He's a tall player. He's very strong. He's very fit. He's a great box-to-box option. So I don't know if United would let him go permanently, but Leeds apparently are looking into it. The reported fee I'm hearing is around 30 to 40 million. And actually, that... I can't imagine that being an unfair price, if I'm being honest. I think, there's some experience there. He's obviously played for Scotland and he's played a lot of first-team games for United. I know he was one of Ollie's favourites, but since Eric Ten Hag has come in, I think he's struggled a little bit. He seems to prefer Casemiro and maybe Fred or Bruno a little bit deeper maybe. But yeah, McTominay struggling to get into the team at the moment, and the latest rumours are that he could be on his way out, on loan or maybe permanent to Leeds. Now, this is an interesting one because we've got plenty of Chelsea players apparently linked with Newcastle. And I'm not saying that Newcastle want all three of them, but these three names keep coming up, and I'm guessing they would like to bring in one or two of them. The most likely is Loftus-Cheek. That's why I'm using him as the main image here. Apparently, Eddie Howe is a massive fan of Loftus-Cheek. Versatile midfielder. He's been played as a right wing-back. He can do it all. And let's face it, he's a very good player. He's just a very injury-prone player and a little bit inconsistent. But I'm telling you right now, okay, if Loftus-Cheek goes to Newcastle, whether it's permanent, loan with option to buy, whatever it may be, he will do very well for them. Can you imagine Joelinton with Bruno Guimaraes and Loftus-Cheek as a midfield three? I'm not saying Willock isn't good enough. He's been very good. But that is a brutal, strong, physical midfield three, and they're all workhorses. That could be a recipe for success, and they're already doing very well. Conor Gallagher is another one linked, and so is Ziyech. However, I've also heard Ziyech could be going to AC Milan, and I don't know if Gallagher leaving would be a potentially good idea. He's a very good young player, but again, he would suit Newcastle very well. I'm just confused as to why they think they need a central midfielder. I'm just trying to work out, is that what Newcastle need right now? Do they need a central midfielder? Clearly, that's what they're looking for right now, although Ziyech is obviously more of a forward player. Up next, we've got Elanga, rumoured to be going on loan to Dortmund with no option to buy, is what I'm hearing, but you never know. These things can happen behind the scenes. It wouldn't surprise me if Dortmund would be pushing for a loan to buy option. So what if he does very well? They can have him permanently in the summer. But again, it seems a little bit naive of United to potentially leave one of their young players, let one of their young players leave. I think Elanga, whilst sometimes he does look a little bit inconsistent, well, I guess he looks inconsistent a lot because that's literally what he is. He's Mr. Inconsistent, but he can be an explosive winger with, I think, a potential to be a goal scorer, a very good goal scorer as well. Dortmund like him, so I don't see why not. Dortmund are known for nurturing young players, and I think he would be a better player for it. And he's not really playing in the first team. Garnacho seems to have come in and taken that young winger role from him. But Elanga, definitely one to watch out for. I'm a big fan of Elanga. Signed him in my Sunderland career mode? I think it might have been. Or was it my MGH United? Oh my God, I'm losing my my brain trying to remember all of the signings I make. But yeah, fantastic player, and I'm sure Dortmund would absolutely love to get Elanga in this window, but one to watch out for. Now, this is one that we're going to talk about for the summer, and that is Declan Rice to Arsenal. Now, as you know, I'm a massive Arsenal fan, and as you know, I've been very vocal about the failed Mudryk transfer. He's gone to Chelsea, but I'm going to give myself a little bit of a pat on the back here. I said that Mudryk was a high-risk amount of money. I mean, the amount of money was high risk. There's no doubt he's going to be a good player, but 100 million is a lot of money. And I said it, you can go back and watch all of the videos I've made on Mudryk and that transfer specifically. I've said, is it not more sensible to put that money, that, 100 million into Mudryk, or we could put 20, 30 into someone like a Trossard, who we're going to talk about in a moment, and then save a bunch of cash for a player like Declan Rice. I said it. Declan Rice would be my absolute dream signing in midfield. Xhaka is still one of our best players. I mean, what a turnaround Xhaka's made since those days where he was booed off the pitch and threw his shirt on the floor. But honestly, I think Declan Rice is Granit Xhaka's replacement. I think Thomas Partey, obviously, he's going to be 30 soon. Declan Rice replaces Partey. He can play both of those roles. I think Declan Rice under Arteta would be a different animal. He would be so good. He's already an elite midfielder. And I think, with respect, under Moyes and Southgate, I swear, if you give him Arteta, just watch what happens with Declan Rice. This is a transfer I want to happen. Please, Arsenal, make it happen. The fee is reportedly going to be around 50, 60, 70, that kind of price, because he's only got 1 year left on his contract in the summer. This is not going to happen in January, otherwise we'd be spending over 100 million. So West Ham, I think they know that Declan Rice is going to leave. There's no doubt about it. Everyone has been saying he will end up at Chelsea, but maybe they've blown a bit too much money on a certain Mudryk. Just saying. Now, also today, this has popped up. Diaby, he is a winger as well. So obviously we've missed out on Mudryk. I'm sure we have other options. I'm hearing that initial talks have taken place today for Diaby. So I literally found out about this half an hour ago. So I've quickly put this graphic together. Diaby is, he's left-footed instead of Mudryk, right-footed. And you could argue operates on that right side. So back up to Saka, ahead of Marquinhos. Don't forget, we do not have a backup to Saka. If he was to get injured, we'd have to play Nelson, Marquinhos. It's not great, is it? But we're talking, again, almost 100 million. Apparently, Leverkusen wanted 100 million in the summer. I'm sure that figure would be around the same again, and they would not want to sell him mid-season. So, one to watch out for. I don't have enough information on it, but this apparently is a thing. But lastly, with Arsenal, we have another two players linked, both from Brighton. Trossard apparently wants to leave. He's handed in a transfer request. I think he's not getting on with De Zerbi very well. And to be fair, Trossard, I think he's going to be 28 soon, or is he already 28? He's a very, very tidy player. He is an Arsenal player. The way he drifts inside, he can play as a striker, a centre-forward. He can play on both wings, but the majority of his time is down that left side, exactly where we would have had Mudryk. The only downside is he's a little bit older, but reportedly 20 to 30 million would be enough to get Trossard. I think that could be a no-brainer. But also we have Matoma, 25 years old. 3 years ago, this story is remarkable. I love this. 3 years ago, Matoma was studying body physics and whatever in university. He was studying dribbling. This is a true story. So he went to some sort of sporting university / college and he studied dribbling. And what's he doing week in, week out? He is dribbling past players like they're not even there. I think he's 25 at the moment, so he's not super, super young. And he's had, let's face it, a good 6 months at Brighton. You could argue he's come in for Trossard, for De Zerbi, since they've had a falling out. So, again, I keep saying it's one to watch out for, but the fee I'm hearing, it's 60, 70, 80 million for Matoma. That is bonkers money. But when you really think about it, if you were to put it on paper, Mudryk's just gone for 100, right? He hasn't even played 30 top-level games in his career. Matoma has played a whole 6 months in the Premier League. You could argue the fact that he's older as well, just a little bit older, he could be going into his prime soon. He could be worth more than Mudryk on paper, but obviously it's mental, isn't it? The market right now is broken, but I truly believe that Trossard will be on his way. He's also linked to Tottenham, so another reason for Arsenal maybe to jump in there. But talking of Tottenham, Zaniolo has been linked for a while now. I don't know how much truth there is to this. I can't imagine Roma would want to let Zaniolo go in January, and I don't think Mourinho would potentially want to do business with Tottenham. It didn't end particularly well. So I'm not too sure about this one, but I've brought it in here because I'm trying to work out why. They've got Kulusevski, who can play down that right side. I mean, Zaniolo typically is on that right side, but can play through the middle as well. He's a tall attacking player. I think he's 6'4". He's quite a big lad. I'm just confused because I feel like Tottenham needs so many other upgrades in their team. Maybe not an attacking player, but they are letting Lucas Moura go at the end of the year, so there could be some truth there. But also, they're looking at Pedro Porro. This is, I believe he used to play for Man City, and then he's been on loan, and he's ended up at Sporting. He's got a release clause of 45 million, a young right-back that does look very solid. And what do Tottenham need? A right-back? I mean, Emerson Royale has failed. Jed Spence apparently doesn't exist anymore. Don't know what's happened there. Doherty's an Arsenal fan, and he's rubbish. Porro could be a very good shout for Tottenham. And they've got that left back coming. Is it Udogi? I don't know how to say his name, but Italian left wing back. Imagine if they get Porro as well. Maybe Jed Spence does come good. I just feel like, and obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm bound to say this, but Tottenham fans, let me know. Do you think Conte should be dealing with all of these transfers if he isn't if he's not signing a new contract? Let's say he wants these players specifically right now, but what if a new manager comes in the summer, which is very likely, and doesn't want these players, doesn't want to play a wing-back system? Maybe they don't need them then. It does seem a little bit crazy to me, allowing a manager that clearly doesn't want to sign a new contract to have all of the influence with transfers. It's a recipe for disaster, so it's going to be an interesting one. Now, it wouldn't be a transfer video if we didn't talk about Chelsea wanting to sign someone. I actually put in an offer for my Tesco shopping recently, and I went to pick it up, and they had already said Chelsea arrived and took it. So they're going to be buying everything they can, it seems. Madueke, that was an awful joke. Madueke is highly sought after by a few clubs, apparently. Chelsea are the latest and most involved, it seems. Yeah, don't believe this anymore. I feel like with Mudryk coming in, surely they're not going to go with Madueke as well. Other wing, you could argue Madueke is definitely more of a right-sided player. PSV, would they want to sell in the winter? Probably not. But if the money's right, maybe they would. I hate Chelsea. Moving on to our last transfer rumour. This one, interesting. So, of course, Emery is now at Aston Villa, and he wants to reunite with Ganduzi. Now, can we just take a moment to appreciate how right Arteta was, that Ganduzi was not what Arsenal wanted. His mentality stinks. He's got an absolutely horrible attitude. And I've got to be honest, guys, I would not go near Ganduzi. There's no denying he's a great player. But we've seen it at Marseille as well. We saw it at Arsenal. He's just a bit of a prat, really. However, it was Emery who signed him, and it was a very good transfer. We got him for, I think it was 7 million from Lorient, I think it was. And he's gone on to be, at the time, I remember halfway through the season, he was one of the most expensive young players in the world in terms of his transfer value. Of course, that's gone down a bit at Marseille. He hasn't been doing as well. But he didn't do much for Arsenal, and it's an interesting one. I think he could do very well back in the Premier League. He is definitely suited to the Premier League, but Villa, I'm sorry to say, but you're getting yourselves a bit of a train wreck. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the transfer window rumours video. I love doing these videos. About the Wolfsburg career mode, I'm still working on getting that back. I need to get some new kits made, and I want to put some other cool stuff in there, so watch out for that. That's coming soon. Until then, I'm just going to be doing random videos like this, talking about rumours. Let me know which one intrigued you the most. Which one do you think is going to happen? Which one isn't going to happen? And I will see you hopefully soon for another transfer video, but maybe we'll talk about deals that have been completed.